Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vines Unknown webinar series. And in this segment, we're exploring Crete. I'm your host, Fotis Stamos, and along with me, my co-hosts, Ari Kalos and Catherine Copeland.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
And we want to introduce our special guest with us, one of our repeat guests, Johnny Livanos of Diamond Wine Importers, along with one of our special friends and new to our program, Kamal Kouiri from Wondrous Restaurant, wine director, general manager, but above all, I like to say one of the most important advocates in the Greek wine industry, also noted for being the Greek wine ambassador to the U.S. Kamal, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure having you.
Thanks for taking the time. I'm sure being in New York City, lots going on, very busy gentleman. We definitely thank you for the time that you're putting together for us. And in this segment, folks, it's all about getting to know a little bit about Crete, but more importantly, before we kick off, we'd love to get to know a little bit more about Kamal, because I think he's has a lot to offer. He has an interesting story, and I think he's one of the pioneers that helped place Greek wines on the international map here, at least in the U.S. Kamal, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started into the wine business.
Sure. Well, I started about targeting Greek wines about 25 years ago when production was, was average and export was low. So I felt that that sector was very important. The fact that I traveled in Santorini, tasted some wine then. I didn't even know what the grape varieties, it was a nice hot summer in Santorini, grabbed a glass of wine, sipped on it, was blown away with it on the spot. And I tried to understand what this wine grape, how it's made. It was a simple wine, but still was some character. Just to remind me of the whole days I spent on Santorini. Coming back to the States, I say, let me see what I can find this wine, look for books, and it was nothing. It was just books, Greek, wine books that have 500 pages and they have one paragraph about Greek wine. So just a little bit felt, that's not fair. And I started, asking questions and understanding and developing. And I was lucky enough to start with the Livanos restaurant group 20 years ago. I took over the program within 1 year and start understanding, developing, and that my goal became to go ahead and travel, and that's only way to find out about the people and the terroir and the wines. Never a book can tell you the whole story. So me going sometimes 2 to 3 times a year to Greece, meeting people and understanding their thinking, understanding the climate, understanding the terroir, and that gives me an idea, and that's made me go in deep into the wines.
So basically, it was, I can say, love at first sip.
Yes,
right? Exactly.
That very
first sip, Santorini, and
it was.
Changed everything for you.
Yes, and coming back and the fact that it was not I would say no restaurant, even Greek or not Greek, was caring about the wine. That pushed me to see why was a curiosity as well.
And your curiosity also, I think, also led to being very adventurous and very, could we say, risk taking, as far as you put together one of the first and only all Greek wine programs at the restaurant level in the U.S.
I think the first.
The first.
So when I started working at Molivos, and with the Mediterranean wine list with a little bit of Californian wines, I understood by traveling year after year, I saw there's a little bit of stability in the winemaking of Greece. Meaning, if I took a glass of Moscopilero, the same winery, and tasted 3 years in a row, I felt there is stability. And that's what drove me to decide in 2007, I think the Greek wine sector overall are starting to be serious. Not the terroir is always there. The raw materials are always there. It's more likely, I feel, in the lab, in the winery, in the selection of the oak, and also in the vineyard, understanding that. So by 2007, I felt there is a stability with the blessing with the Livanos family. They said, I asked them, you know what, I'm thinking to go 100%, but also was a trust between the Livanos family and myself, and we're able to achieve that. And the wine list grew from 300 labels so we have almost like 900 labels.
Wow. That's amazing.
In Molivos, yes. And that's give me and Molivos a library. You know, I take a wine that's been made in 2000, for example, and I can taste a wine that is made in 2016. For example, wine is say a Ramlista, Xino Mavro. I will understand the evolution of the vineyard, because it's the same vineyard, evolution of the winemaking, evolution of the grapes. So that gives me some kind of history and background to double check, you know, almost like I have a bank of information, and that shows me what we were doing then and what we're doing now. You know what I mean? So that's.
So you must have an amazing collection of aged wines as well.
Yes, definitely. We have some wineries from their first wine. For example, Kiriani was established in 91. Its first vintage was 94. Basically, it was a vintage made a few bottles, and then it was basically handwritten piece of paper on as a label, and we have a few bottles of that. So we have his first vintage, which is 1994, and we have his last vintage so far I have in the cellar, 2016. So we have some wines that we can showcase 30 years of winemaking of same vineyard, same grape.
So if anyone's actually seen the evolution of Greek wines, it's got to be you. I mean, hands down.
Meaning, you know, there is a lot of other people doing a lot of stuff, but I went early, meaning I took a chance, like you said, early on. I understood what they're doing, and I saw that they're doing good. If I felt that they were not showing, or the country is not interesting, or the grape are not, then maybe I'll back up. But the fact that I saw a lot of energy in the Greek viniculture part. I saw amazing work with the new winemaker generation. Their father were growers, now they're winemakers. The kids are winemakers. I saw diversity, meaning the 80s were only mostly French trained, Bordeaux, Dijon. Now from all over, you know, you see Fresno, California, UC David, Tuscany, you see some people did training in Germany. So now you have a same grape, same terroir, but 3 techniques, 3 schools. And that gives also a different variation to the wine. So that's also helped as well.
Excellent. So Molivos happens to be one of my favorite restaurants. I mean, I got to say, not just as a Greek restaurant, but I got to say as a restaurant in the country.
Well, we were thinking about those before, and I want people don't know just a real brief history of Molivos, because I think that's important.
Yeah. So for those of you who haven't been or haven't heard of Molivos, we opened, I guess, 26 years ago, Kamal?
1997.
Yeah, 1997. I don't know how to do math. And we were one of the first restaurants in the country that was doing a high-end Greek cuisine. Taking family recipes, classic recipes from all over the different regions of Greece. And I think that's important, is the regional Greek cuisine. A lot of times people think of Greece, they think of Greek food as one giant, like, ball, one giant, that's it. It's just Greek food is all one thing. But from region to region, it's lots of different styles and cuisines. And Molivos was one of the first restaurants to kind of really focus on that. Our opening chef was Chef Jim Boutsakos, and he did a really good job of setting that tone. We got 3 stars in New York Times. And then with Kamal's leadership as well, to bring the wine component into it, to tell the full story of Greece was tremendous. And we've been consistently serving high quality Greek food there for 20 something years, and we're excited to keep on going. We're in Midtown Manhattan, right next to Carnegie Hall and 7th Avenue, between 55th and 56th Street. And
Awesome.
So, I'm curious too, by the way, was that hard being one of the first ones to pioneer a venture like that? I mean, certainly if you're the first one to pioneer anything, it can be tricky, but I mean, taking on like originality and.
Yes. It's always difficult when you do something different against the grain. but I want to experience not something new. You go to a bistro, you find food, you find a casserole, you find escarole, and you find French wine. You go to a trattoria, you have antipasto, and you have Italian wine. So we're not doing something different. We're just doing Greek. We're doing Greek, and we are proud of doing Greek. That's the only thing, and we emphasize on it. And we say, yes, we can able to give you a good plate of food that's all the world already recognized years and years. But we want to add you a glass of wine. You know what I mean? We're going to do a liquor maybe. And that's the experience. We want to create that experience. Like, we want you to travel wherever you are, in New York, Boston, whatever, to Greece in that setting. Yes, you have those doubters, and also you have those people that are stuck in their head with one wine. You know, I don't want to name a grape or region, but I want that region and I want that wine. And if that's what you need to able to be patient with them and cater to them, to make them trust you and trust Greek wine eventually, and then eventually you move them. A simple thing what I was doing early, if somebody I want a Chablis, you know what I mean? I want something, or I want whatever wine it is. Unfortunately, we don't have it, but we have something similar. Before I was introducing them to amazing Chardonnays produced in Greece, but people tell me why Chardonnay. But Chardonnay was my gate to other indigenous. So if you taste a Chardonnay and you have an understanding of Chardonnay, how it's made, and I give you a beautiful crisp Chardonnay with some minerality and typicity to the place, a sense of wine, sense of place, then you're gonna say, okay, I can give you now an Assyrtiko, and you can trust me. You know that the product is there, the savoir is there. We can handle Chardonnay. Can you imagine if we could handle Chardonnay? We cannot handle our own heritage grapes. So that was a way
Good
of
strategy.
opening up the gates, you know. So that was always the case. Yes.
Awesome.
Definitely, because it's all everything in the end is trust. It's just to be daring to able to try something different. You know what I mean? So
that's what it's all about. Yeah.
So,
yes.
Speaking of being different, I think that would kind of be the segue for us to kind of get into our topic of this webinar. In our previous webinar of Vines Unknown, we explored the island of Santorini, which is a more familiar location where most folks who've heard of it have traveled there. But often enough, we've heard of Crete, but it's never considered, in my opinion, from the masses as a respectable wine producing region. And I think that it deserves more credit and more time. So we wanted to devote this segment to the wine culture of Crete. Having said that, I'd like, Johnny and Kamal to kind of take on the discussion from this point about allowing our audience and our guests to get to know a little bit more about Crete.
Yeah, let me start a little bit off. Just my first time to Crete was only a few years ago. I went there 4 years ago on a wine tour, and I was blown away, not just by the wine, but by the beauty of the country, the beauty of the people, the landscape, the cuisine, the food, the music, everything about Crete was like, I wish my family was born here so that I could go to Crete more often. Not that where my family's from Lesbos, it's a beautiful place. I love going there. But Crete, there's not that many places where you could go into the have a mountain view with snow-capped mountains and look at the beach at the same exact time.
Johnny, don't be jealous, but I am half Cretan.
I'm jealous. Yeah.
Make sure you know.
Wait, all right. If you want to share, I want to show quick photos just to kind of paint this picture. Just
Sure.
My trip, I was surrounded by amazing, unique foods that were not in other parts of Greece. Cheeses that are so fresh, and I don't know what the sheep eat over there, but they were so delicious. Like honey made from wildflowers. It just something. Crete is just so alive, and it's also a huge island, right? So Crete is the biggest island in Greece. Right. It's the southernmost island in Greece. And so you have this really unique weather. What's that?
I'm pulling up the images for you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to share some pictures of the people who haven't been. Yeah, so this is Crete. It is the biggest island in Greece. So what is cool about that is that you have some very large cities in the island, whereas a lot of times when you're going to little islands in Greece, you're in the little village, you're in the Chorio, you're kind of taken away from the rest of civilization. But what's cool about Crete is you have the ability to go to Heraklion, which is it's one of the largest cities in Greece, and then also 30-minute drive, go to the coasts where you're just in a very unique, desolate, all alone, and just be able to explore. So the wines we're going to be tasting today are kind of all where those little pink dots are in the center of that map. Yeah, that's the little pink dots in the center of the map. That's where all like the main wine regions in Greece are, in Crete are. So we're the wines we're tasting today are in the center. And then if you want to scroll down, I wanted to show you a picture of me eating the lamb, just so you get a picture of how good the food is. Yeah.
This is my favorite.
Wow.
Cretan barbecue. Well, I'm drinking Sikoudia, or like the Cretan raki, which is
Johnny, by the way, my mom is the one that's from Crete, and her last name is Tsikoutakis.
Oh, wow.
Tsikoutakis. Wow, that's original.
That's me drinking Sikoudia.
She claims her family invented Sikoudia. I don't know if that's true, though.
That's amazing.
Every family claims that.
Yeah, so Crete's a really cool place. And what's awesome about Crete is, Greece in general is special because there are hundreds, if not maybe even thousands of grapes that only grow in Greece. But then you go to Crete and you're basically in another country in itself. There's now, I think if Greece has like 600 or what's that? Kamal, how many grapes, that Greece has?
Classified grape, 320.
So 320 classified grapes, thank you, in Greece. And then Crete alone has, I think, dozens that are only from Crete. So, that's just very special about Crete. You're drinking, today we have, in the white wine we're talking about is Livanos, which is a indigenous Cretan variety. You don't really see it anywhere else in Greece. And then Kotsifali is the red variety we'll be trying today. Again, only really from Crete. So what's cool about Crete is you have not only food, music, a dialect, the style of clothing too that they wear in Crete. And dancing, yes. But then you have also varieties of grapes that are only from that island, which just make it a special place. And definitely, if you're going to go to Greece, I recommend taking a visit to Crete.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so special.
Well, yeah, also beside Crete, we'll do a little...
You don't have to share my picture anymore.
Crete, the unique thing about Crete, first of all, is one of the oldest winemaker region, dating back to the Minoan civilization. That's the first thing, because you see that as a simple tourist that's going to travel to the island, and you see it all over the place, ancient wine presses. So the idea of winemaking was planted thousands of years ago. Winemaking never stopped in Greece, in Crete, especially in Crete, because two things. Even though the Ottoman Empire was holding more the port cities out of the mountains, the production still continue. Also, southern parts of the island was protected by the Venetians, so the wines continue to produce. That's very unique. Then we forward in the 70s was the first appellation. That was the 70s was the phylloxera era, when the island really saw devastation of that disease, and then that they start to be organized. 71 was the first time that appellation system was established. There were only 5 appellations then, and still in +2. Greece, first of all, like Johnny said, is the largest island of Greece, and the most important one. Just give you some numbers, 160 miles long and about 25 miles width, and anchored by 3 mountains. Lefka Oros, we have Silo Ritis mountain, and to the east, Dicti mountain. So really, this mountain creates like almost a land barrier to the Aegean Sea. So Crete helped what's happening in the Aegean through those mountains. If there were not those mountains, all this island will be super dry. So you have those mountains. That's also a land barrier from the Libyan Sea, which is, as you know, there's a lot of Saharan wind that comes in the summer and super, super hot. So basically, the whole island is a continuous valleys and nooks, and flat land is very rare. The unique thing about Crete, because it's a long island and different era, is a different soil composition, and soil composition, believe me, play a big role in this indigenous grape. You have calcareous with high proportion of clay, that's maybe 70% of the island, and there is plots of limestone, sandy clay, loam rich in calcium, and some other volcanic matters. That's very important. Climate, which is very unique. Believe it or not, is the southern part of Greece and still 2 degrees cooler than Santorini. Because of that elevation, you get that cool air from the mountains, you know. The fact that you have those mountains, the rainfall, it is a lot of abundance of water. So there is no, it's your typical Mediterranean, mild and rainy winters, and hot and sunny summers. So the rainfall, the bulk comes from October to March, which is what the winemakers want, because nobody wants rain in the summer. So you have that ability. And the water ability is good for Mediterranean standards. So the combination of climate, topography, water ability, soil makes Crete an excellent region for viticulture. So those the first thing. In the 80s, when they came back, they were just focusing on international grapes, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Sangiovese, and the Rhone Valley grapes, which did very well, but they were only for local consumption. They were never for export matters. And also for critic to talk about Greek wine. But the last, I would say for me, for Crete, Greece maybe the last 15 years. For Crete, the last 7 years, that really their focus is about 30 wineries. Most of them were established post 2000. Few of them, like Alisakis, is from basically the 70s as a winery, but 1930 as a family run business. And these wineries start to focus on the indigenous grapes. So the whites, we have Villana grape, which is the king or the queen of the whites. You have Vidiano, which is the most, I will say, the newcomer, the diva of the grapes that really will be the flagship of Crete. You will think Crete, you will think Vidiano. You will, like Santorini, you think Acertico. Vidiano is the key for that grapes, because it does give you different wine characters for different terroir and elevation, and also age very well.
I think the wine that from Doulofakis too is kind of like one of those pioneers of that variety, and gives you a great example of what that grape potential that grape is.
So also there is Daphne, there is Trapsatiri, Malvasia di Canvi, Muscat Spina, Clito, those are white, and then there is Cozzifali, Liatico, Mandilaria or Mandilari in Greece, in Crete, and of course Romaico, which is an ancient grape basically that grows there. So that gives you, so you have different terroir, different topography, different grape variety, and now you add on the savoir-faire. Every winemaker is different, you know, different style, different school. So you have a melange of all these flavors, like you cook in nice pots of food, you know, and then it gives you this almost like this spice rack. You pick whatever you want and you create this beautiful wines. The wines of Greece, the wines of Greece are high in acid. Why high in acid? Because they always drank with food. You go to Greece, you order a glass of wine, they will give you something to eat. You order food, you're gonna order wine. That's how it is. It's a combination. You never find somebody with the glass of wine, even though there is plenty of wines from Greece that you can enjoy as an aperitif by itself, but usually comes with food. That's what acidity play a big role. And to retain acidity with that amount of heat in Greece, that's amazing. That means shows you a lot of work in the vineyard, a lot of low yield that's become very essential right now to able to showcase the true character of grape variety. The last few years is less oak use. That means not to mask the flavors of this beautiful indigenous grape varieties. So you see a lot of techniques. You see also a little bit of amphora, going back to the roots and introducing amphora, using indigenous yeasts. Most of the grapes, we're not even talking about them because for Greece is not important. Every grape, I would say 90% of the production of Greece is organic. So for Greek and for us, organic is something that we don't even talk about it anymore because it's natural.
It's a given.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And now it's more like less. Let the grape speak itself. Let the grape show its case, show its character, show its nuance, and work hard in the vineyard. And that's why Greek the viniculture or wine grower work very hard in the way, because most of these are on elevation. In Crete, 250 to 700 meters elevation. terraces. You cannot use a tractor. It's basically hand tools, handcrafted stuff. The harvest is definitely handmade. And then, like I said, in the last 7 years, it's technology. Now you have good quality equipment that Greece never had a chance to have back 20 years ago. And now it's about showcase the wine and trusting your philosophy. And that's what I like about Greek winery right now. Every winery has a philosophy, an objective. They don't wait. They don't make a formula for the wine before the harvest starts. They wait until the grape comes in and decide to make the wine accordingly to that wine. Yes, you work hard to achieve what you want in the vineyard, but the result dictates what approach you're going to deal with the wines. You know what I mean? How the wine's in, how the harvest is. So those are the important things about Crete, and the most important thing for me, it's deliver much more quality than the price. It's that's one thing for sure. Value. It's like hashtag everyday wine. You know what I mean? It's always there. Yeah. So it's approachable. So you can find a bottle of wine that maybe costs $20 retails, and you may get double in value what you're drinking. So that's a good thing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well said.
I think one important note that Kamal mentioned is that all the winemakers are making wine with a purpose, and I think it's a nice transition from the olden days of Greek winemaking, where I think the winemakers are more focused on making a lot of wine or bulk wine, and now the message or the philosophy, the purpose has changed, where instead of just making as much wine as you can to sell as much wine as you can, it's about how can I make the best wine possible that represents my variety, my place, my vineyard, my land, my country, to showcase, to tell my story. And I think the wines we chose today and a lot of the winemakers throughout Crete, they do a really good job at doing that. Should we transition to the first wine?
Yeah, let's get into the wine. I mean, I've been sipping, but I definitely should say let's get into it.
Yeah. So the first wine, we have the white, the Vidiano. So like Kamal mentioned, this is going to be, we believe that this is going to be the white variety of Crete. So this comes from Douloufakis vineyard. Aris, I don't know if you want to show the photos. I got a couple photos of the winemakers, and you can kind of scroll through them while I talk about the wine.
Sure. Let me
So as Kamal said, this is going to be the diva of the white.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, the grape for sure. And Douloufakis, Nico Douloufakis, I met him before he worked with Ted Diamantis, and he was just coming in and bringing his wine. I went to Inorama, which is the festival of wine in Athens. Then it was done every 2 years. Now it's every year. And only year I missed it is this year because of the coronavirus. That's the only way I missed it. And then 15 years ago when I was speaking to him, you see the guy has an objective, have something in mind, like a plan. He's not going blind, that's for sure. Yeah. And Vidiano, I don't know if that picture, Vidiano, and when it's oval, that's a clone. The oval, if the grape is oval, that's the best grape. This just gives you the finesse of Vidiano, because there's few clones out there. So that's if if it has that ovally shape, that's the best grape. Yeah, they are you eat them by themselves in harvest. That they are yummy. Besides even making wine, So
interesting.
Yeah, they are really. It's very. You crush it in your hand and it's fragrant, like almost a bouquet of flowers in your hand. And this is just a fresh, not with yeast. Doesn't even. Because yeast add most of the aromatic with the contact, but here it just itself is still fresh in your hand.
Yeah, it's
and
cool.
Very crisp.
It has a lot of tropical fruit notes. It's creamy. There's no oak aging on this wine, but it has some body to it. And then one thing that's important to note is how much this particular winemaker, Nikos Douloufakis. If you scroll down, Aris, you can see I have a picture of him, and then a picture of some of his vineyard. He does all of his grapes are certified organic. So he's doing some really important work in the vineyards, and organic wine is unique in Greece because I feel like they've been making wine organically for forever. Like that's just how they make wine. They always make wine organically before the word organic was trendy. because that's just how they put so much care into making wines. You know, they don't want to poison it with fertilizers. So, you know, but when you're making an organic wine, you just have to be that much better of a winemaker, because if you have a problem, you can't just spray it away. You have to do natural things to get in the land to really understand what is happening, to either fix an issue or to make those grapes taste as best as they can. So it's awesome that he's been able to achieve that.
That's a great point.
If you scroll down, we'll
Yeah.
have another picture, I think. Maybe I don't. One more time. Yeah, so here's a cool picture of, so you can see in between the in between the rows of vines, instead of throwing a lot of fertilizer, they have what's called cover crop. So basically after these cover crops, basically wild herbs and things that grow, they'll turn them into the soil to get that natural nitrogen and nutrition back into the soil. Yeah.
So there's add-on to the Vidiano, beside the one you tasted, just a definition, not definition, but a little more information. Vidiano, when it's young, is very vibrant. You know, it's very, you see the tropical fruits, usually stone fruit aromas on the palate. In the beginning, it's more citrusy. Again, those unripe stone fruits. But I love about it is the acidity. It has a nice acidity that's with, as it ages. For me, Vidiano is to drink it 3 years. You know what I mean? You don't need to, you can enjoy it early, but as it ages, it's developed to this creamy texture, and and the finish. You know what I mean? And also has that this savory elements of the wine after it become more like. Here is more like peachy, little bit of nectarine, creamy. You get a little bit of sage elements. You know, work very well with salty cheeses, spicy cuisines. You know, with a piece of lamb on the charcoal. You know, works very well. You know, and what I go back to the Daphnios by Doloufakis, it's on point. You know what I mean? Sometimes you feel. Especially I know what you taste in 2018, I believe you tasting, guys.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
2018, yeah.
2018, yeah.
2018, I think it peaked, meaning the things came together. Because don't forget, this grape is not been. Nobody will tell you it's like 20 years, 30 years vines. These are new vines, so they're young.
Oh,
so the vine, as the age, as they take some time, the fruit will even become more powerful. That's why I say. It is the diva of the grape. It is the future. It's only we saw young. I drank a Vidiano from 3 years old vineyard. It was stunning. Can you imagine what it does at 10 years? Winemakers tell me 12 years is a jackpot for them.
So this wine, we got to keep our eyes on the future production of Vidiano.
Vidiano, definitely. And for the price you pay, it's amazing. You, like I said, you can. I'm sure, Catherine, you're trying it. I'm sure you've been. For this, cheeses will do very well with this. For me, give me a plate of cheeses and some maybe pickled stuff because of the creaminess of the wine, and I can enjoy this. That's my dinner. I don't want to do anything else. You know.
Oh, can you say that this could be possibly? I mean, is it safe to say possibly an aged white Burgundy at some point?
For me, always there was debate between Burgundy and not. I don't think it has the punch of the like Assyrtiko. For me, Assyrtiko is Burgundy age. This is more like Bordeaux. It's more like like a Semillon kind of element, you know. It's more has that oily texture to it, you know. Has a little bit of not Assyrtiko does not, but Assyrtiko with that Persian acidity, that's a monster by itself, you know. But this is more like for me white Bordeaux, Semillon, Sauvignon. When it's young, more like a Vouvray Chenin, you know, like that.
Kamal, what's the oldest Vidiano you've tried?
Was Vidiano 2012. It's like I told you, I don't have too much experience with this. 2012 Vidiano, yes, that's what I have.
I got an idea.
And I have some 15 yet still of Daphnios.
I got an idea.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do this every year. We're gonna taste the new vintage, the oldest vintage of Vidiano, and see what's going on.
Yes, definitely. You know what? Johnny need to take 6 bars and put them aside. You know,
okay.
If he talks to Doloufakis, we can send him a couple of bottles of old vintages. you will see the difference.
All right,
you know,
cool.
you definitely will see the
I
difference.
might have some
you know?
lying around.
Yes, yeah, and also Vidiano, because because in the beginning they didn't understand the grape, and the first thing they want to do is oak. The first thing the Greeks, they had always this. I need to protect it with oak. I need to protect it with oak. So the first Vidianos were done with oak, and you enjoy them. They become more like Chardonnay-ish kind of.
Mhm.
But the thing that now stainless steel is amazing. Or you see now, like Dulufakis does another wine. He does two things with Vidiano. This one is the first one, Daphnios. Then he experimented with acacia. It's called I don't forget the name. The white hand. He does acacia in it for like 3 to 4 months.
Oh, the Aspros
And
Lagos.
yeah, Aspros Lagos, yeah. And the other one, and one is in Amphora. So 3 style of Vidiano. But I feel himself, he will not, those other things. Like for me, the one with the oak, with the acacia, need less oak next time. And with the Amphora is still experimental. And from vessel to vessel, you get different wines. I think the stainless steel for me is the ideal platform for Vidiano to shine. Though if maybe you can do like Ascetico, when you take maybe 20% is oak and 80% is stainless steel to lift it up a little bit.
Yeah.
From early age. That's what you add that oak in the beginning to lift it. But on its own, stainless steel is the future for Vidiano. Even though there is some amazing Cretan wine that's made with some oak. Like Lirarakis does a good job with it. Then there is so many wineries like beside Rus also.
Catherine, Ari, what do you guys think? Have you guys tasted it? Let's hear your tasting notes.
Been changing a bit because it was chilled when I first took it out of the fridge. So, and our last sip clip was actually on how wines change as the temperature changes. So I've just been watching it get
for sure.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It's to Catherine's point. I've had this out for about 45 minutes in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
And now it's like just loaded with flavor. Like it just covers my palate with so much flavor. And it's such a soothing mouthfeel.
Yeah, and for me, like Vidiano has that decisive Greek flavors. You know what I mean? Like almost like you're walking in the vineyard. You feel it. Beside Ascetico that really embrace minerality. I think Vidiano is another wine that does very well with minerality. Showcase it very well.
Delicious. Ari?
I ran to get a bottle of. I haven't tasted yet, so come back.
You gotta have a bottle opener before a class. That's like number 1 rule.
I'm a complete amateur with this.
Yeah. and meanwhile, also in Crete, just to talk about district, there is a lot of wine district in Greece. This if you go from west to east, this is Kissamos, and then there is Chania, then there is Rethymno and Heraklion. Heraklion, that's what Johnny was pointing with those dots, is most of the production comes from Heraklion. And then to the east is La City. La City, it's a small region with 2 appellations actually. Both of them are protection designation of origin. One is called Scythia, which is you need to blend a Villana with Trapsatiri for white, and for the red you can make a red dry or red sweet. If you make a red dry, you take Liatico with Mandilaria, and for sweet you do Liatico 100%. Also, there is Pidio Malvasia, which is a lot of people talk about Malvasia, and people think about Malvasia as a grape variety. Malvasia is an ancient dessert wine that the Greeks were making for thousands of years, and even they were going to the ancient Roman Empire through the medieval era, through the 17th century. So that Malvasia, it's a blend of grape varieties that you sand dry or fortified, which is made from Ascetico, Vidiano, Trapsatiri, Liatico, and you need to put a minimum of 15% of Muscat, white or Muscat, or Malvasia aromatica. So those grapes goes into sun drying, and then you have a dessert wine. So that's Malvasia. It has nothing to do with the aromatica, Malvasia aromatica. It's Malvasia, which is a blend of grapes that you sand dry and make a dessert wine. And that's, dessert wine were traveled through centuries through Greece, because that was mainly used also in churches and stuff. So it was very protected,
And it held well during travel too, right?
Yes. And then there is also in Iraqian 5 PDO appellation is Pesa, which is you make a white or red. White is 100% Villana, the queen grape. And then red, you have Kotsifali with Mandilaria. Then there is PDO Acharnes, which is only red. It's Kotsifali and Mandilaria, which is, I love this appellation to protect indigenous grape. And then the Daphnis, which is not for Vidiano, and hopefully they will wake up and make a PDO for Vidiano, but they will eventually, except in Greece takes more time. And it's red or sweet by Liatico, which is Dulufakis make a fantastic Liatico called also Daphnios, and is amazing, almost like a Gamay style red. You can chill it will be fantastic. So those are the appellations. So there is some organization, because you need that, to protect the grape varieties and to protect, because everywhere you go there is growing. You don't want just to cut other grape and plants. You want to be organized, so to protect these grape varieties, not to overgrow them, not to for the production to be very, very limited. So they always be world-class wine instead of just bulk wine like they were doing pre-70s.
Awesome. This is delicious. I can't put my glass down. I've been sipping ever since.
It really is.
Do you feel it is any as you warm up in your glass? Do you feel like a little bit of spiciness in it?
Yes.
Huh?
Absolutely. Yes.
As you warm, it become a little bit as a spiciness
more prominent
to it.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I even picked up a little bit when it was cold, but as it warms up, definitely it's there.
Yes.
Definitely there.
Okay, let's move to the red now.
Yeah. So
okay, Johnny, go ahead with the red, and then I'll follow
I'll
up.
start it off. So the next wine we have is from Alexakis Winery. And one thing that's important to note real quick about the winery, the Alexakis family, they're one of the largest and most important wine ambassadors in Crete. So they actually are one of the largest privately owned wineries, and they do a lot on the island to basically just increase the quality of Cretan grapes in general. So in addition to producing their own wines, the family does also buy grapes from all over the island. So they spend a lot of time educating the smaller growers and wine growers throughout the island, so that they could basically increase the whole perception and quality of Crete. I always forget that saying, when rising tides, all ships rise, whatever. That's
when the tide comes, all ships rise, or something.
Yeah,
like
that one. They're definitely big believers of that, and they spend a lot of time, educating their neighbors, and even basically help grow Crete, and that is such an important thing. So this wine here is a blend of Kotsifali and Syrah. Kotsifali is a pretty awesome red variety from the island, and it's often blended with other grapes. And Syrah, I think, is a perfect match. One thing I love about Syrah, especially from like the Rhone Valley in France, it has such a really awesome spice characteristic. And the Kotsifali does really well. It kind of adds to that. Yeah.
I was going to ask. I was always curious. What is the relationship between Syrah and Kotsifali? What determines this French variety to actually be so match made with Kotsifali? Like, what do you even have an idea?
I think that Syrah. Yeah, I mean Syrah. I think Syrah has body. It has a lot of body and depth to it, and the Kotsifali has a lot of that flavor and aromatics. And together, when you marry the body of the Syrah with those aromatics and depth of flavor, the Kotsifali, it goes really well. Someone sent me this tasting descriptor, and I think it was perfect. That this is an old world wine that's bordering new world style. So you have those rich oak qualities, You have that like really nice chocolatey kind of depth from the oak characteristics, some sweetness from the fruitiness. But then you have those like really savory, earthy qualities that are really, really cool. And this particular wine is, it's one of the higher rated wines that we bring in and that we import. You got 92 points in Wine Enthusiast, and for the price you're paying, I think you're getting a tremendous amount of value. And this is from 2000. You're drinking the 2015, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So think of it, that's a 5-year-old wine that it has so much complexity, depth of flavor, and you're not spending as much money on it. Whereas another wine from 2015 today, you're gonna have to pay a lot more for that amount of age. So that's my two.
I really did notice the aroma. The aroma really, really hit me when I first started tasting this.
This is extremely distinct. Yeah.
Yeah, it has a very distinct aroma. It's very interesting.
And
Yeah, go ahead. Go, Catherine.
So this wine is so distinct to me. When I taste it, I get a lot of herbal qualities.
Yes.
And I know you said a lot of earth flavors, but this is, I feel like I could try a bunch of red wines next to each other, and this one would stick out to me.
How's the tannins? How do you feel about the tannins?
So soft.
Okay. Well, it's definitely, for me, it's a value wine again. It's everyday wine. You can open it, put it in the fridge, chill it. You can have it with a pizza. You can have it with cheese. You can have it with your burger. And Alexakis doesn't mind if you eat with a pizza, because his idea is to make a wine that it is, in a way, look and taste modern. That's it. That's his philosophy. Smart packaging always, which is he does. You can see it on the label. He works with details. You know what I mean? And he wants always, again, the same word or same quote I told, deliver much more quality than the price. That is always objective. The wine is a blend of two things. You have Kouiri, indigenous grape variety, Syrah, international grape. And going back to Syrah, why it's blend very well is the best combination. Believe me, they tried everything. I follow them. Then they blended with Cabernet Merlot. Then they turn other grapes, and eventually Syrah for me is the best international for Greek blending. It works very well with indigenous grape variety, because sometimes some grape variety lack aromatic. So it's the Syrah add aromatic and body to the wine. Kouiri is very.
That, Kamal, just sorry to cut you off. I also think that maybe it could be because the terroir of Crete is very similar to the Rhone Valley in France. You have those like high winds. You have those really dry soil, those high altitudes. Maybe that could be a factor.
Yeah, maybe. For me, like, why I say that, because the Syrah in Macedonia blend very well with it. So and they tried Cabernet Merlot and pulled Cabernet Merlot and plus Syrah. I think Syrah, with some reason, did very well in Greece. Maybe it comes from Greece. Let's tell us to the French. Let's put this.
Well, I remember hearing that this Syrah, actually, or they call it the Shiraz, was from the Middle East or from Syria. I don't know. And then it moved its way to the Levant, then to Greece. So maybe it's closer to our natives. It's not actually native to France. It's native.
It does very well. It does very well overall in Greece. So the Kouiri is very soft and mellow. How that plummy flavor, and also it's fresh because of the acidity. You add the Merlot, you add the Syrah, give it a little bit of body, little boost. Also, all those aromatic you feel. But see here, Alexakis has, let's go back. He has the Syrah and the Kouiri. So Kouiri and Syrah. So Intinus. Then again, the oak selection. He used American oak, which is old American oak and new French oak. So you have this balance between flavor, to come up with almost a balanced, well-structured wine. With the emphasis here is fruit. You have this wild forest berries. You find this, and you get that. This is from the fruit itself. You have this like green and pink peppercorn that come from the fruit, and then you have this minerality again that comes with the terroir. And the flavors that you have them from American oak. You have the dark chocolate. You have that fine grain that gives a texture tannins. You have aromas of cedar, I believe, and earthy element and savory element that comes with old old French barrel. So you have this blend of flavor. So you have blend of grape variety. You have two different terroirs. Kotsifali come from, I believe, different terroir than the Syrah, different elevation, different maturation, because everything's separate. They make the Syrah as a monograde variety, age it, and when they're ready, and they make the Kotsifali, and then they come up to the blend, which is 60% Kotsifali, 40. That's overall the idea. Some year may vary, by some degrees, but that's not important. The bottom line is, in the end, you have this lush, elegant wine with nice texture, nice, tannic texture, has a elegant flavor, especially the finish. The finish, I feel like almost new world. As it goes, elegant. As it goes deeper and you wait for your sip, then you have this, like Catherine said, those herby notes, like eucalyptus, a little bit of minty character. Yes, the dry mint, you have that character coming in, and the price, I'm sure, because I buy it, we use it by the glass, once a while in rotation. It's very. You'll be, you do very well with as a consumer or as a.
Well, if I could say, Kamal, this at least in our market, this is a wine that would retail under $20.
Yes,
it delivers a lot more than $20.
Exactly. That's why deliver more quality than the price. That's for sure.
Fantastic.
And that's the idea of Alexakis, especially because, like Johnny says, he's the biggest producer in the island. Almost Greece, not owner of land, but producer of wine. I think is almost. I don't believe the last numbers. Maybe I cannot tell you the numbers because numbers change post 2000. I would say 2011 because the number changed. But he produced like almost his number one production of wine in Greece, but different labels for different market, different packages. So that's why also he works with a lot of wine growers, and that's keep the island, because Cretan are for Cretan. They almost like they may butt hand in closed door, but outdoor they are they support each other and they help each other, because if one winery does very well, everybody does very well. So
absolutely. Well,
so that's where you see that. Yeah,
I have to say these are both Rockstar productions.
Yeah.
So true to their locality, their local variety. The integrity of these wines are far beyond what I think would imagine when they think of Greek wine. I commend them for what they do, and I definitely want to use this platform for our audience and those that will see this webinar moving forward, that consider Greek wines on the level of any other international production that's out there that they enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. Don't be biased. Go ahead, buy. It's what, $20. You can make a decision for your own. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's a lot of wineries that can offer, from like Alexakis to Dulufakis to Lerarakis to Karibitakis, Manosakis, Butari, Rus. All this winery can give you a bottle under $20, and you can make your own decisions. You know what I mean? And you're gonna go back to it, because I know the decision you're gonna have. The whites are very crisp, fresh, elegant, easy to drink, approachable, have sense of place. The red are balanced, are even for a red is crisp. You know what I mean? They're not heavy, they're not tired. You can match them with food. What do you want from a bottle of wine for $20?
Right. And having said that, Kamal and Johnny, let's. This is fantastic. I love the in-depth analysis from Kamal. I think the play-by-play that you provided is far beyond any education that we've offered here in any of our segments. Can we open up this segment to some questions to our audience? And
sure, yeah, of course.
Kind of like pick your brain and Johnny's brain and see what we can provide them with answers to their questions.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Ari, can you open up the virtual lines for questions?
All right, I actually have a couple already. How would you consider Crete wine different from other Greek wines, like Santorini wines, for example?
Okay. Yeah. Well, first of all, Santorini is unique on his own. the focus in Santorini is only 3 grape variety: Assyrtiko, Aidani, and Athiri on the white, and the red is Mavrotragano and Mandilaria. Santorini, because of the unique terroir and the shape of the grape and the age of the grapes, because Santorini never saw phylloxera, so their vineyard average is about 70 years old. You can get some wine with from 120 to 160 years of wine. The strength of the Assyrtiko are bigger to any grape variety, even though there is some Assyrtiko on island of Crete, but it's different, of course. So those are more mineral driven, more powerful, more masculine. If you go to Crete, again, is it's beautiful terroir. We talked about that already, but they're more finesse grapes, like Villana, like Vidiano, and also you will pay half the price when it comes to Santorini, because Santorini right now is like talking Burgundy.
Yeah.
The production is so small that entry-level bottle of Assyrtiko, which is amazing, world class, you would pay $50 for it compared to $20 from Crete. Right, Johnny? Price-wise?
Yeah, exactly. And I think another thing to add to that is that every region in Greece has its unique qualities and properties. I think what's special about Crete right now is there's hidden gems that haven't necessarily been discovered yet. There's less Cretan wines in America than wines from Santorini or wines from northern Greece. Those are the regions that have a little bit more.
And after this seminar, I think we'll have more Cretan wine drinkers than before. That's for sure.
You just gained one.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's keep
All
going.
right. So Crete is the southernmost Greek island. Is the island's location important to the taste of its productions?
Yeah, I think one big factor there is it's by being more south, it's warmer, but also the way it's close to Africa, it creates a lot of wind. So there's a wind that kind of comes off the coast of like the Libyan Sea going through. That terroir is definitely a factor in the quality of the wines.
And Crete, as we talked about before, it's all these valleys and plateaus. The island anchored by 3 big mountains, like 8,000, little over 8,000, then about 7,000, another 7,000. So these are barrier. Actually, these help the northern part of the island because it's less cooler than the southern part. The southern part is about 2 degrees warmer. So you see the production almost the other side of the mountain. So you have this elevation. If you go in July, you may see white snow caps still on. There's a lot of water. There's no underwater. It's a lush. So the environment that's been created for the island, from the natural elements of the island, help produce specific wines. And again, these wines are only produced beside Vidiano, because I told you everybody want to have some hand on it, because Vidiano, it's planted some other place in non-Crete, but all the other ones are only in Crete, so they're protected, so they're very unique. They have a unique grape variety growing in a combination of climate, topography, waterability, and soil. That's what makes it very unique, and the location, it is very unique because you have when it's winter, you have the wind from Libya that temper the region. When it's summer, it's the other way around. The Meltemi come from the north, from the Aegean, and cool off. So you have always a temperature. So the condition to grow grape is ideal. Sometimes, yes, there is that humidity everywhere, but by picking the slope and picking the sun orientation and the wind pattern, that means understanding your vineyard, you can have better fruits. And by having better fruits, you can have better wine.
Excellent.
Oh.
Okay. How many bottles are produced in Crete? If you guys have like a ballpark figure?
The Crete, I tell you, vineyard, Crete is 15% of the total vineyard of Greece. So it's a lot, it's 15% of the whole vineyard. No, 15.
Okay, I thought you said 50%. I was like, oh my God.
No, 50. I will move back there.
That's
15.
that's still
Yeah,
significant.
50%. And I think there is because there is about 30 wineries with maybe 25 of them produce less 60,000 bottles. So those are, we call it handcrafted wineries or boutique wineries. Some of them produce 25,000, like Economo, which is a brilliant madman, but he creates some fantastic wine. And compared to, say, Alexakis maybe makes, I think, 1.2 million bottles. So yeah, it's maybe then, but maybe things change. Maybe 600 now, have 50% of the capacity. But still, it's, I will say, 15% of Greece vineyard. That's approximately, yes.
All right, I have a somewhat interesting question here. Does Cretan white wine match more of a mezze type of food? Like, does it complement like fried foods, maybe the acidity in the fried foods?
Yes. Well, see, the good thing about, that's why when you go to Greece and you order, you have a bunch of things. You have fried sardines or anchovies, you have cheese, you have salad, you have zucchini fritters, you have a piece of salad cheese. And what you have one wine. That means what that tells you. That tells you that the acidity of the wine can stand to different wines, can stand to fry food, can stand to a salad. It's almost very versatile. And acidity is very important. And also the absence of oak, for me, always, I believe that gives that freshness. And almost you take a piece of cheese like Saganaki, you sip your Vidiano, you cleanse your palate. You pick up a piece of fish, you drink that, and you pick up the Vidiano, for example, you cleanse your palate. So they are very versatile and can work that's why when you go to Greece, you're going to experience that, because you see a table full of food, different kind of food. So they're, yes, versatile, white wine or red wine, But I prefer white wine more with overall Greek cuisine than red. And if you love red, you're going to love red. Doesn't matter what cuisine it is.
All right.
Awesome. Is there a co-op, or do all wineries in Crete grow their own grapes?
What happened? Co-op? Yeah, always there is. This is by law. Every commune, we talked about 5 of them. All of them, Kisamos, there's cooperative Kisamos, cooperative Hania, cooperative Ritimno, cooperative Heraklion in Leseta, because no one grape will go to waste, because they want to protect they want to push you, they want your generation, your son and your grandson, keep the tradition. If you make grapes and nobody buy them from you, why are you going to be doing that? You're going to go to the city, right? So by protecting those growers, cooperative is obligated by law to buy you grapes. You knock at the door, you open, they measure, you get paid. That's what it is. So that's why Alexakis, for example, work with small. Instead of going to the cooperative, he will buy directly from them, but he give them direction. I want my grapes at this yield. I want this at this one. I want the canopy management at this one. I want you to do pruning this time of the year. So that's more collaboration with the winemaker and the vine growers, because there's a lot. There's only grapes or vines or olive trees. That's it. That's what they find. You know what I mean? So that's what they focus on in Crete. Besides, they don't need to buy. They don't buy nothing from nowhere. Everything is produced within the island.
Interesting. Would you consider Cretan wines biodynamic?
Well, biodynamic, it's a style, and there is few of them that do biodynamic. Like it's a winery called Silva, does do biodynamic. It's in Heraklion again. It's a choice if you want to do biodynamic. Well, like Johnny said, Greek did organic wine for many years, not because they feel that's the right way to do it. Before anybody starts talking about it, they were doing it. So biodynamic is again another choice. I knew few wineries that do that, but it's not the focus right now. Meaning there's still a choice. They still make good wines, but there's not too many of them that practice biodynamic. But there is.
Interesting. Okay. Does domestic consumption in Crete affect exports?
Well, most of the wine is consumed domestically. I think I think 80 or 90% of the wine is drunk within Greece. So it doesn't necessarily affect exports, because I think they still make a good amount of wine. We could always take more. We just need to drink more wine. The real question is, us Americans need to drink more Greek wine, then it will affect the Greeks.
Was that question answered just in case? Do we ever run out of Cretan wine?
Well, the idea is the Greek love their wine. They go out a lot. It's going out to eat is not a life. It's not a necessity. It's life. It's the way of life. You know what I mean?
And
They
wine
go
is-
on. They meet their people. They meet their friend. They want to talk. This less talking on the phone is more talking face to face. Let's grab a coffee. Let's grab a glass of wine. Let's go dinner. So that's part of life. You're always out. Summer, they never spend long in the house. Always out. If they're in veranda, if they have a space, yes. If they're not, they're gonna be in restaurants and by the pool and by the beaches. So they have. So there's consumption, yes. But after these fact numbers, after 2007, the consumption of wine went down because economically people couldn't afford anymore. But now that's why we have good wines, because then they say in 2007, they say, okay, we need to focus on international. We cannot just make any wine and we're gonna sell it. We need to make world-class wine that can compete with French, with Italian, with other parts of the world, and give value and good wine and good labeling and smart packaging and do that. So I think the export grew because I told you when I took over in 2002, I had maybe 30 wines that I can get. Right now, if I want to have a wine list of 2,000 labels, I can do it if I want.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So there is a lot of labels. Yes, there is a lot of labels, but there is some good and there is also some bad. No doubt. You know what I mean?
Basically, Kamal, what you're saying is that we can come to your restaurant 2,000 times and have a different wine.
Yes, yeah, for sure you could. Yes.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
Well, I could give you another fact about Greek wine. Whenever Foti visits an area, the wine consumption goes up about 75%.
That's great. So you can visit us in Molivos. We have, a deep cellar.
I think my wine consumption goes up 75% when I hang out with Ari and Foti. So.
All right, I have a few more questions. I'm just going to throw this in because I got a comment from Greece, from somebody who does Greek wine tours, and she said Kamal knows his stuff better than most Greeks I've ever met. So I just wanted to let you know. So a couple more questions. If one were to try Cretan red, would you suggest a blended wine with an international grape or go straight to the single variety?
Try them all. So many.
Yeah.
It's a good anyway, but then there's also some great. I would try the Douloufakis Liatico next. That's a really great red variety. So I think you can't go wrong with either.
Yeah, me too. There is some amazing blends with international grapes, but I will go indigenous. I'll focus on indigenous to try something completely different. You will not feel like you're tasting Syrah, and the Syrah will take your mind off it, whatever. But Liatico, it's very good. It does very well. Different appellation, especially the one from Daphnes. It's 100%. It's cool. It's like Gamay style. You can have it with anything you want. And the other one I like also from the same, from Pesa, which is a blend of Kotsifali and Mandilaria, also very good. So like you can do either way. You're still gonna enjoy them both. But I would say always look for a wine. At least there is some indigenous grape variety. So for example, Alexakis, you have some Kotsifali with Syrah. You can try the Liatico by Douloufakis. Another gentleman makes a good reds. Is Rus. It's a blend of Kotsifali and Mandilaria called the Skipper. Butari makes wine from Crete as well. It's very good. Lilarakis makes a fantastic, does a good job in the island, makes Liatico. Karavitakis makes a young winemaker. The Nico Karavitakis make a good quality of blend. You can have a straight Kotsifali. You can have a Kotsifali with touch of Merlot. You can see some Mavrotragano now planted in the island, which is doing very well. So there is a lot of red from Crete that you still not pay too much money, like I say, and then you can enjoy some wine from them. And also Economo, if you want something like a little more money, but if you think you're in Piemonte, Economo makes amazing age.
What makes him crazy?
Not crazy. His philosophy, meaning his adventure. That's what I'm saying. He does things a little more different. He doesn't release his wine after 4 years. So, for example, we have on the list a Pesa, which is Mandelaria. It's from 1994 or 1994. Liatico from 2000. Amazing. So he takes his time. He has this philosophy. I forget the name of Spanish winemaker who does these things, which is he makes his wine and age them in this big, huge barrel, old, and just wait for them until they talk to him, you know.
I like that.
Yes.
Awesome.
Even his white wine are aged 4 years. You know what I mean? So it's good.
Excellent. Are there any notable rosés from Crete?
Yes, of course. Meaning, if you able to, most of the rosé will come from a red, méthode saignante. So it's byproducts. It's economically good and taste. It's hot in Crete, so you need a rosé. Rosé became the last 5 years almost a fashion, I would say. I love rosé because also there's versatile grapes, versatile wines, and Kotsifali can make a kick-ass. I'm sorry if I can use this language, but
you can say whatever you
want.
Goodness.
Rosé is fantastic. And then there is Mandilaria, and then there is some indigenous grape like Grenache Rouge, which is style of they do some. But there's some beautiful rosés like a Provence style, small pigmentation, not too many. Maybe depend of the grape variety, between 8 and 10 hours skin contact, stainless steel fermentation, and then $14-15 later you have a beautiful bottle of wine.
Awesome. I have another question here. I'm reading it and I don't even understand it, so hopefully you guys do.
English?
Who's the Greek?
What about Plito variety? What are the characteristics?
Plito grape variety. This is another variety. There's 2 varieties that were discovered by Livanos. Before you will buy a bottle of wine, you will say vin de Crete, mean wine of Crete. So basically they pick whatever grapes, they come in, press them, and give you a wine that you don't know what it's in it. So they decided to go to this vineyard wild and pick them, study them, plant them. That's a lot of effort and money, and do mono variety, meaning 1 grape in 1 bottle. So one of them is Daphne and Plito. Plito is almost like it was like almost done, it's gone. And I love about it, has a refreshing acidity and lemony lightness to it. It's almost like has lemongrass, lemon, lime, grapefruit, kumquat, fresh, easygoing grape. You know what I mean? So there's not only a couple of them are blending them. When you see blending, think about in Crete that they have only young vineyards, so they not have a potential to have it 100%. Even though they may tell you something else, but that's the truth. And when they feel like the vineyard are good enough to handle the wine, then they will have it 100%. I think the Rarakis and other wine have it as 100%, which is another indigenous that was saved in the last, I would say, 15 years. Same thing with Vidiano, same thing with Daphne, which is mean basically L'Oreal is like bay leaf characteristic.
Yes.
The only one that was planted like crazy is in 1980 is Villana, because after 77, that was the last phylloxera. And then the government tell them to plant, and everybody planted Villana, neglecting all these other ones. But with time, I feel like this grape came in the right timing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was meant to be.
Cool.
Awesome. I have one more question. How common are these wines throughout the U.S., not just New York?
Oh yeah, that was mine.
Yeah. So Johnny, go ahead and tell about your wine where you can find them. I'm sure you can find them all over the United States.
With Diamond Imports, we distribute to 42 states or 43 states. So our wines are actually all over the U.S. I think Massachusetts and New York and New Jersey and Illinois and Chicago are like the biggest states for some of these wines from Crete. But we distribute it all the way from Maine down to Florida, all the way to California, Oregon. We're in Hawaii, Texas. So we're all over. And I think especially because Cretan wines have so much value to it, a lot of people who, it might be some people's first Greek wine and never had any Greek wines before in a market that doesn't have a big Greek presence. Cretan wines might be the first one because they have so much value that people might be like gravitate towards those. So yeah, they're actually starting to get a lot more visibility and distribution throughout the country.
That's great.
Yeah, and the easy parts of it, I'm sure everybody has a trusted wine shop. Go to him. Hi, buddy. I'm looking for some Greek wines. I'm sure if you order a case, he will buy it for you. I don't think he will miss making 20, 25, 30% whatever he makes. He knows that you're going to pick it up. He's not going to stress with it. And maybe by you telling this wine shop, hey, give me some Greek wine, he will open up his eyes and say, what I'm missing,
Right, that's the goal. That's how it all spreads.
If I can add to that,
yeah.
For our listening audience and the guests, or for those that view this webinar after the fact, if you can't find any of the selections at your local retail shop, you can definitely order some of the selections, especially Alexakis and Douloufakis, on our platform. So we have a shopping cart that we ship all over the country. So if you can get it at your local wine shop, we'll get it to you through FedEx for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's the easy part. He already have a platform for them, able to go in, click a couple of clicks, and the wine will be delivered in no time. So
definitely both the Alexakis, Kotsifali, Syrah, and the Douloufakis Vidiano is available on our platform. And at the same token, I wanted to thank Kamal for definitely spending the time with us. This was more than informative. This was a treat.
I want to say, sorry to cut you off, Foti. I wanted to say, as a true Cretan, Kamal, I mean,
he's more Cretan than you.
You need a little more. I don't, as a Cretan, I wasn't just satisfied with everything you were saying. Like, I need some more information. Is there any more information?
Yeah, we can do. Let's do another one tomorrow. No problem.
Exactly what I was going to say. This is, Kamal, this will not be the last time. We definitely want you to be back with us.
Sure.
This was an honor.
Happy to.
Treat.
Great. Well, honor is ours to be in your show and able to talk about Greek wines, because that's the most important thing. Is not
definitely.
We are, for me, like always I say, I'm just storyteller. I go in, shake these guys' hands, see how blistered hands and what they do and the effort and the energy they put in Greece, and I want to show a case to the world.
Let's also plug the fact that for those that have been intrigued and those that may when the time is right for them, they want to visit New York. Let's plug the restaurants and how can they get in touch with the restaurants and go on some websites, contact.
Easy. So basically, God will, when everything goes back to normal, you come to New York. You have two destinations for us. You can come to Molivos restaurant. It's in the west side, on 7th Avenue, between 55th and 56th. You can check us on Check One My Wine list at www.molivos.com. Yes. Our younger sister, Ousia, which is a modern Greek cuisine, a little fun, hip kind of. Also, we have a not as deep wine list, but more, a vibrant wine list, that can match the cuisine by the chef here. It's Ousia. It's 629 West 57th Street. You almost come all the way to the river. And at www.ousia, OUSIA, New York, NYC.com. And that's where you come in and also have some beautiful Greek wines as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kamal. And if I can also, before we end it off, for our listening and viewers, we do have another fun and interesting segment coming up soon with Johnny again. Johnny's never going to leave this ever. So on
John's my favorite host of all time.
August.
I'll be like the what's his name? The
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, exactly. The Greek Ryan Reynolds.
No. It's not like you are the Greek Ryan Reynolds because he has the Greek, one of Greece's first gins, right? Straight
Yeah.
Dog.
So here's
Yeah.
I'm going to let Johnny tell us a little bit more about this, but please, for those of you that are listening, marketing your calendars, Google, put that in your Google Calendar. But August 27th, Johnny's coming back, and Johnny, tell us what we're going to talk about on that.
So we're Stray Dog Wild Gin just launched in the U.S. and we're going to be in Massachusetts starting tomorrow. He's the first one to place an order for Massachusetts, so that's exciting. And then we'll give everyone, all the users, an opportunity to purchase some. And we'll do a cocktail class. So I'll teach you a little bit about the story of the gin, how we came up with the idea, how we made it, how it goes into it, and then we'll make a bunch of drinks together. I'll teach you a little bit about cocktailing, gin cocktails, gin, and
Awesome.
make a stirred and a shaken drink.
And I just want to say, which is something dear to my heart, that part of Johnny's profits for Stray Dog Gin goes to dog.
Yes, Stray Dog shelters in Greece.
Wow, that's amazing.
God bless you, man.
Hats off. Hats off to you.
Well, that wraps up another segment of Vines Unknown. We want to thank all of our special guests, Kamal, Johnny, for putting this together with us. My co-host, Ari, Catherine, thank you so much for putting this together.
Thank you, guys.
And I just want everyone to, be safe, drink lots of Cretan wine until the next segment. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, bye-bye.
Yes.